back to trial. In the same court, in the High Court in Glasgow in the Salt Market. We went to trial in October 2016, but Mr. Choker died a year before. I still remember the funeral. His family asked me to give the eulogy, and I carried his coffin. And we were heartbroken.
I remember speaking to the police, and they had police outback riders. There was government ministers there, politicians, there was trade unionists, there was people from all walks of life. And I thought how proud Mr. Choker would have been to have seen that.
Yeah.
You know, it was paying respect to somebody who I thought was a warrior for justice.
Mrs. Choker said to me, my husband will not be at peace unless we win this time. So that was a heavy responsibility going into the courtroom.
I've always said that when we went to trial, it was like my left arm was missing because I had Mrs. Choker. I always used to, remember I used to walk to
both of them together.
I always used to
in
hold
the middle,
them.
yeah.
I always used to hold them. It'd be Mrs. Choker on my right, they'd say, son, hold on to us.
Yeah.
When we'd take him into court, into a meeting, I'd always hold him, and all of a sudden, he's not there.
Of course, when I step into that courtroom, I think, here I am again. I could not afford to make a mistake. I was no longer a final year law student. I was no longer a trainee. I was responsible for my actions as a qualified lawyer in every step that I took. An eyewitness on that day had seen Ronnie Coulter wielding a weapon. There was evidence of Ronnie Coulter's sister who spoke about Ronnie Coulter having boasted. It's for the jury to decide. Has enough been done? Is it beyond reasonable doubt? Will this person be found guilty of murder? There's a part of me just dreading the verdict, because I know there's a possibility. Everybody has a right to a fair trial. A fair trial has taken place. What will be the verdict?
I remember Mrs. Choker sitting with me in the trial, and the verdict came through, holding Auntie's hand, holding Manjeet's hand, and then this part of my heart was racing as I was thinking,
yeah.
What if I've let them down?
The statement to read on behalf of Surjit Singh Choker's family.
Jurors stood up and delivered the verdict. Guilty. And my head sunk.
After a change in the law, killer Ronnie Coulter faces nearly 2 decades in jail.
Today's verdict is not a cause for celebration, but relief that finally justice has been done after nearly 18 years.
And the tears welled up. Mrs. Choker said, now I have peace. Now my son and my husband will be at peace.
In 2000, I stood on the steps of this court, accusing our justice system of being arrogant, unaccountable, and institutionally racist.
There are 2 systems of justice at work in this country. One for whites and a very different one for black people and the poor.
But the Choker family want to thank today's prosecutors, Crown Office and Police Scotland for their unwavering commitment to justice.
The battle that they had fought, one of the most monumental legal campaigns that had ever been fought in the history of our judicial system.
When I launched the Justice Campaign in 1999, many of us stood shoulder to shoulder with a family whose hearts were broken and often had no tears left to shed. Surjit was a loving son, father and brother who was lucky to have 2 stubborn parents who refused to be silenced as they fought for justice as a right and not a privilege.
There was a sense of relief, and it was the end of a journey, a long journey.
There is real sorrow that Mr. Darshan Singh Choker is not here to see justice, but I hope that both he and Surjit are now finally at peace. Thank you very much. There are no further statements.
It was vindication for the campaign we fought. And for me, it felt like you can win. You can take on overwhelming odds, and you can win no matter what is thrown against you.
After nearly 20 years of campaigning, the Choker family can rest tonight, knowing their fight for justice is over. Today, the man who killed their son was jailed for more than 19 years. It is one of Scotland's most enduring stories of heartache and perseverance in the face of institutional racism.
Let's put it this way, the family's determined to fight on.
And despite the assertions of those in the courtroom and outside it,
Until their dying breath, they're going to keep fighting for the truth. because that's all they have to look forward to now.
Okay, Mum.
All right, John.
Bye-bye. See you soon.
Yeah, have a safe journey.
All right, look
Give me a
after
text.
yourself. All right,
Yeah.
when you want to get back.
You take care.
Okay.
All right,
No
come again.
darkness. Obviously.
Quickly.
Okay.
Watching a family who refused to be shoved aside, who refused to be silenced, who, for the love of Surjit, fought on. I cannot begin to imagine that pain, the grief, the suffering that they went through. And now, as a parent myself, God forbid if something was to happen to my children.
You set the place on fire if you try to hit yourself.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
Try to be a ball.
No, nice one. She's giving you a rubbish one. Wait, do you know what is this?
No, I
Yes.
actually have stuff.
Ow!
Why did you steal my perfume?
Does that how? Look at
That
those
one's
two.
mine, that one's hers. Look at them in front. We're not. She's not allowed to use mine.
I want them to grow up with principles. I hope that one day people will look at them and judge them on the basis of their character and go, you're good people. I just want them to be happy, but I also want them to make a difference to the world.
Right, do you know where we're going? See Manjit and Mrs. Choker, Auntie.
Where's that?
Remember? Remember the photos and all that? Mrs. Choker, Auntie Choker, the one
I don't know.
whose case I fought, the one whose son died. Yeah. How long?
Like 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Dad, yes, we do.
We don't. We're supposed to be there for 2 o'clock. As usual, we're late. I need to get flowers as
As
well.
usual, you're late.
I'll take them to the Choker family's house. I'll introduce them to a wide variety of people because I suppose my children are blessed in one respect in that they are privileged. They don't have to watch parents struggle in the same way that I had to watch mine.
Right, shoes.
Can I buy my iPad?
Yeah, just in case.
I don't have millions of pounds. I don't have inheritance to give them. I don't have houses. I don't have homes to hand to them.
You need anything? You got your wire, Coco? Get that iPad off. Come on out.
What I can try and give them is my politics, my past, my memories, a set of principles, as guiding, and then for them to decide which ones they pick and choose.
No, it's on pet pop.
Manjit once said I was like family, and then she changed it a second later and said, no, he is family, he is my brother. The bond that I formed with the Choker family is something that I will take to my grave. They taught me so much.
तो पता बड़ी तेरी मेरे पता तो और तेरी मम्मी डैडी की सारी ठीक
Daddy,
ठाक
The lessons I learned are applied every single day in my practice of law.
ठीक है अंदर की पर
I know that I have an open door, the Choker family's house. I can walk in any time, and the door's always going to be open. It's always going to be hugs and kisses, and I'm always going to be fed. Even though I'm trying to keep control of my diet, I'm always going to be set away with Mrs. Choker's legendary pakoras.
Angie, don't make anything because I'm fasting. Kess is fasting. Just the girls are fine. They want something.
And it reminds me of being like home, you know, with my mum. It's the same love and affection that's given, and it gives me comfort to see them happy. It gives me comfort to know that all those years later that I can see Mrs. Choker genuinely smile, not to see that pain anymore. To see Manjit, the kids running about.
This is another granny.
good
The Choker case was a case that I took on at the start of my legal career as a final year law student. put me on the map. And then ultimately, 18 years later, it was a mark of the success of the campaigns that I fought, where I won success and we got justice. The family taught me that justice is a right and not privilege. And that's been the single thread that has worked its way through every case and every campaign. Families are not asking for anything special. Equality. Justice. It's nothing special. You have a right to it.